Hey everyone, welcome to 14 Minesweeper Variants 2, the sequel to a 2022 game I quite enjoyed, but the original game is one that I've put a ton of time into. It's the kind of brain teaser that I kind of just pull up when I'm in a class or in a meeting. Um, it's something to pick away at and work on slowly over time as opposed to a marathon sort of thing. There are a ton of puzzles in this game, most of which are procedurally generated, making it great for long term background play. With that, this is the interface. You start off with only vanilla Minesweeper and then two variants. I'm not going to do any vanilla right now. I'm going to assume that most of you know the rules to vanilla Minesweeper. If you don't, they are easy to learn. I recommend you try out the game for yourself before you jump into this whole experience. With that, let's begin with 2H horizontal. Any mine must have a horizontally adjacent mine. Sounds good. Alrighty, so no standalone mines in rows, but they can be standalone vertical. Gotcha. With that, 2, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and enter drawing mode here and begin to work out exactly what can or must happen here. If we have the mine here, then there has to be a mine here as well, forcing that to be empty. Let's say that this is the mine, then that has to be there, forcing. If we have a guy here, that does not necessarily mean that there's a guy here. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I should be starting with the guy on the left because we know for a fact that there can't be a mine here or here because there's no way to have another mine there, given that this is only a one mine tile. Therefore, let's go ahead and empty both of those. That's a 0, which is handy. There has to be a mine there to make it horizontal rule correct. Does that solve anything for us further down? Um, hmm. Looking at this, we could just have like a whole line of them going down like that, right? But I'm not certain that's correct, nor is there any reason to believe that's correct. If we do mine here and a mine there, then all of these get marked off and there's only enough space for one more mine, therefore this guy is incomplete. So this can't be a mine. Ooh, but that not revealing another number is actually a pretty tough thing. Can there be a mine here? No, that has to also be empty. With that, 1, 2, 2, 3. There has to be one mine in here and one more there. That's empty, that's full, that's empty as well. There have to be mines here and here because the horizontal rule. Also one there as well. Therefore, in order to solve this puzzle, well, we have to have at least one mine in this section, and we can't have one without the other, so both of these have to be mines. Yay! Looks very similar. That has to be like that. These two have to be filled. This is empty. That solves all of that. There has to be one there as well. We can't have one there or there or there because of the horizontal mine rule. Therefore, remaining mines. Just one more. Oh, well, it can't be there because if we have one here, then there's no way to have a horizontal mine because we're out of mines. Like that. Next up, this level. Well, we're going to have a mine in this section. Oh, interesting. So there's no mine there because there's no horizontal mine next to it. Looking at this. 3 are here and there's one more over here. Let's start mapping out what that could look like. Let's say we have it like this, then there's another one there. Or we could, no, we can't have both, we can't have mines on the walls here because that forces us to have two more there. So one of these has to be empty. That means that both of these have to be mines. If one of these is empty, then there has to be a mine there to compensate, thus marking off all these spaces. If we mirror that, the only space that absolutely cannot have a mine is this one. So let's mark that off. Another 4. Interesting. I think... Oh, that is interesting. Because that tells us more about this here, because we know there's no longer a flag here, or there's a mine. There's no longer a mine there. If there's no longer a mine there, then we can't have just one in this row because of the horizontal mine rule. Therefore, we can't have like one here and here. Both have to be there. That automatically solves a bunch of stuff down there for us. That forces this to be another mine. Solving that. What is next? This has to be empty as well because of the horizontal mine rule. This has to be no mine because we can't have a mine there. This one has to be a mine as well. That's empty. That has to be no mine. Double up, and it's solved. That was a pretty straightforward set of levels. Let's go back. What does this require? It requires us to clear 5 levels of double horizontal. We can't use the 6s to get there, right? Oh, you can use any levels. Okay, let's go ahead and perfect these then. So we can use any level that involve the 2H horizontal rule to unlock the next rule in the game. Let's see. Well, we can't have mines there. This is a very similar setup as we had in the last level. We know that there can't be a mine here and there because one of these will be left out to dry. Therefore, both of these are mines. One of these is not, but we don't know which one yet. Therefore, this is not a mine. All of these are mines, which is interesting. That forces all of these to not be mines. Oh, I just deleted all of it. Oops. But the logic still stands. I didn't forget what we just discussed. That's mindless. That has to be mindless. That has to be mindless by basic Minesweeper rules. You know, if there's a mine here, then there can't be a mine there because that would block off those, and follow the same chain of logic until we get to here. Let's see. If you're solved, then that means you don't have a mine because you have to have a mine there to fix up this 3er. That's empty as well. What is next? Looking at all this. Well, we can't have a mine here because if we have a mine here, that by nature of the 2 has to be empty, which is not possible with this rule set. So that's empty. Solving this has to be a mine there. What does that tell us next? There's only 4 mines left. Ooh, so one of them has to be like to serve these guys, and one of them has to be up here to serve these guys. Just the question is, which is which? Well, we know based on that, we don't have room for 3 in a row. There's 2 sets of 2 left over. That's empty. That's a double up. That's empty. That has to be empty. Therefore, this is solved entirely. Let's see. That has to be empty, 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 based on rules we previously discussed. If we have a mine here, that's empty by the nature of the 1, which is impossible. Empty, empty, empty. Wow, that was quick. Okay. By the way, I'm just clicking on mines to auto-complete them when they are intuitive to solve. That's a habit I have from just trying to solve levels quickly in the prior game. That's the whole thought. Moving on. That has to be empty. Ooh, that's interesting. By the nature of just regular Minesweeper rules, we have to have 2 mines here, so there's only 1 more over here. This also has to be empty because if we have a mine somewhere in here, that has to be empty as well. So this up here is for sure empty. That means that this is entirely solved, as is that, and there has to be a mine there and a mine there to prevent that kind of stuff. Or not that kind of stuff, to bridge these so there's horizontal mines next to every single mine. To solve this now, we're going to go ahead and look at the leftover mines. There's not enough mines left over to, for example, oh, oops, my bad. not enough leftover mines to, for example, put a mine here and a mine there. So instead, we have to put a mine here or there, meaning that all of these are by their nature mineless. Ooh, which one? Oh, it has to be this one, because if we put it here, this guy would be left without a neighbor. I like that, neighbor. We're going to call them neighbors now. I'm going to go ahead and solve out to unlock the next bracket of horizontal mine levels. Just going to perfect one more level to get that addressed. Very familiar thing we've seen before. That has to be empty. That has to be empty. Which solves those, which then solves those. Curious. Those have to have mines next to them by the nature of the rule of this level set. This... Ooh, what happens now? Well, this has to be empty. Therefore, that has to have a friend as well up here. What is next? What is next? Let's open up drawing mode and see. Put a mine here, there has to be a mine there. Put a mine there, has to be a mine... It doesn't have to be a mine there, actually. We can't have this and this. So, no matter what, you're going to end up with a mine in the middle. Oh, no! Oh, because I miscounted the mines. I thought that there were... Looking at this, I thought that there were only one mine in this top section. Well, then that would have been easy to solve. We put one there. It has to be there. There has to be one there as well. And then what? Those are practically solved. Can't be there. And then that's auto-completed. But I didn't perfect it. We're going to do one more to perfect it to get that next level. I'll speed through this if I can. Oh, that's actually a new iteration of it, looks like. Okay. So opening drawing mode. Let's see. What happens if we have both the guys here? That's marked off. Then something happens over here, and that's a solution there. But is there a reason that that has to be the case? No, which is why I'm going to go up here and do this first. Now we know that that has to be. If we put a mine there, then these both get blocked off by the nature of this 4, which is unviable, so that has to be not a mine. This has to be not a mine as well by the nature of this. The rule of this level has to have a neighbor. What's next? What is next? Okay, well, regardless of if we put a mine here or here, there's got to be a mine in the middle. We can't have that. Therefore, that has to be a mine. Does that help us at all here? That does, because that means there can't be a mine here, because that would block off this by the nature of the 3. So this has to be empty. Oh, it doesn't have to be a mine, though. Oops, my bad. Okay, I'm hitting a wall here. I'm trying to go through too quickly. We're going to come back to this later. Actually, no. I want to go ahead and just unlock the whole row of horizontals now. Let's get this level because I've already flunked it. That's all open. That has to be there. Those can't be mines because it has to have a neighbor. That has to be available. There has to be a mine somewhere in here, meaning that can't be a mine. And that solves all of those. Has to be a mine there as well. Can't be a mine there. That's all solved. Boom, auto-completed. Let's go ahead and move on to the... Oh, no, I meant to go back to the main thing. Let's go ahead and do the 7 by 7 grids of double horizontals. Well, as already established, we can't have a mine above a 1. Well, what does that mean for the rest of this? If there is, at most, 1 mine in this section, that means there has to be a mine. That doesn't have to be a mine there, actually. Ooh, that's interesting. Let's briefly just map out. Okay, well, I lied. There's actually an obvious thing here. This has to be not a mine. which probably helps tremendously, though exactly how, I'm not quite sure. Not quite yet, at least. 3, 2, 1, 1, 3. I feel like this shouldn't be that difficult, and yet. Ooh, okay. I'm actually not seeing the obvious path forward here. Let's see. If we have this solved and okay, so what we're gonna have here is we're gonna have one of these two rows be complete. I guess you theoretically could have this and like this, right? Where they have mines off to the side that are solving everything, but that doesn't. Is that viable? Because then the two would look like this. I guess that's viable. You know what? We're gonna use a hint. So to clarify, perfect clear is not impacted by hints. Hints are just nice to have. Um, oh, I should have seen that. I should have seen that. That's marked. One of these has to be completely done. What? Oh, I didn't mean to press that button. Oops, oops, oops. Let's restart that. I didn't quite see what they were having me look at. Okay. Gotta get used to the hotkeys for drawing. Let's say we do this. Well, if we do that, then we can't have a mine down here because this will already be blocked off. And then you'd have to have 3 up here, which is probably okay in the grand scheme of things. How about if we have the mine down here? That blocks off this and this. Then we can have... Then this would have to be like that. No matter what, this has to be a mine. What does that tell us? That tells us that all of these are non-mines because this guy has to have a neighbor, and that neighbor will fill up the rest of this 2's quota. What do we learn next? We learn that this can't be a mine because it has to have a neighbor, forcing this to be a mine and that to be solved. Wonderful. Perfect. That has to be a mine because one of these satisfies that guy's quota. That can't be a mine, making all of those mines. That has to be a mine, and that can't be a mine. What happens next? Well, we can't have this be a mine because if it is, then it has no neighbors, and that's absolutely no good. So that is not a mine. What happens next? Oh, this guy's solved. That's what happens next. That's not a mine. You have to have your mine there, which has to have a neighbor, thus solving the 4. You can't be a mine. You have to have a neighbor. And we have to have 2 more mines in this level. And they have to be somewhere in here. So the mines have to be either here and here, or like here and here. Either way, this one's guaranteed to be a mine, and this is guaranteed not to be a mine, which solves the rest of the level. We've already established we can't have mines. wait, did I just... Oh, that's funny. I didn't mean to do that. We'll skip that. That was an inadvertent information reveal. I should not have been able to know immediately. At least I don't think I should have been able to know that the 2 wouldn't have a mine below it. Zeros are always fun because you just get big chunks of level carved out for you. Has to be a mine there, and then 1 more mine somewhere in here. What's next? I don't quite know yet. Okay, let's say that there's a mine here, then there has to also be a mine there, which blocks off that without telling us too much, to be honest. Let's look at this instead. If we mark, okay, let's say we have a mine here. There has to be a neighbor, so let's just assume that. Not assume, but let's just say for estimation. Then we have to have all those blocked off, forcing this forward to have only 2 mines. Therefore, the mine cannot be in this space. So let's go ahead and clear that and block that off. What does that tell us about the puzzle in general? That wasn't super useful. It was. We got some progress, but I'm not leaping into the next thing, it seems like. Um, 3. If we have this, we have that. All of these get marked off, leaving only one more space for this guy to use. Therefore, this guy has to be empty. It's not possible for it to be full and solve the Minesweeper rules. Am I gonna have to do that for all of these? Oh man. um. Oh, weird. Draw. Well, this actually should have been easy. We know that there's 2 mines somewhere in here, meaning that this is satisfied by those mines, making that not a mine. What does that tell us? A lot. It solves that for us, which is very nice. That has to be a mine. This can't be a mine because it can't have a neighbor. That can't be a mine because it has no neighbor. Both those are mines. Both of them have to have neighbors. This can't be a mine because there's 1 mine somewhere in here. And the next step, oh, this is not a mine. Oh, wow, that's nice. It just tells us verbatim a lot of things. Cool. We can't have a mine here because then that wouldn't have a neighbor. So we put the mine there and the no neighbor here. Exact same thing here. We put the mine there. It has no neighbor. Therefore, the mine goes there. And it has a neighbor. Autocomplete. Next level. Can't be a mine there. Have to have mines here and here. Not sure what's next, to be honest. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, what does this mean? Okay, so one of them has to have a friend over here, right? Because one of these has to be an X. Let's say it's that, for example. I'm not sure what the 4s tell us. Oh, well, oops. Always look for the solos. That can't be anything. And we've seen this song and dance before. Mine, not a mine. Not, because one of them has to extend. Whichever one extends will clear up all those, forcing that to be where it extends to. Forcing all of that to be true. Then all of this is solved. Wow, that was a lot all at once. This can't be a mine because if it is, it has no neighbors. This is going to put 1 mine somewhere here. Therefore, this can't be the mine because it would have no neighbors. Which means 2. These are empty. That's not a mine. And that's solved. That's solved. Has to have a neighbor here. Can't have a neighbor there. No neighbor, no neighbor. One of these has a neighbor. Which one? Not sure yet. Oh, wait. There's only 7 cells left, and 6 of them have to have mines in them. So, so all of these are mines, and then you have to have a neighbor, so you're the last one with a mine. New level set. Alrighty. Looks like we just perfect cleared and got our way up to 8x8 on the 2 horizontal rules. Perfect 10 levels of 8x8 2H to get the special variant. Let's go ahead and just do that now so we have it ready in the future. No matter what, this will be a mine because we can't have just that and that be mines. Therefore, this can't be a mine. Therefore, oh, that's tricky. Okay, we know that that's not a mine. Oh, that's all solved. I have a feeling that I'm going to breeze through these now that I'm pretty comfortable with the 2H rules in general. Both those had to have neighbors. A lot of these are honestly kind of auto-solves in the sense that once you have some information down, the puzzle itself just kind of like, you can click on the mines to get through a lot of it. You have to have a neighbor, so you need to have a space there. Like I mentioned previously, I tend to play this game as a brain teaser of sorts, not as a, oh, I got to completely 100% like lots of everything. I want to complete levels. The game is good about not giving you things when they're not automatically solvable on their own. It wants you to think through things whenever it requires actual logic to make progress. Like, for example, now. At least I assume so. What am I doing? There's only one more mine in this section, so that can't be it, and that can't be it, because it has to have neighbors. Therefore, if there's one mine here, based on the 3, this can't be it, because it has to have neighbors. Classic stuff. But what's next? Well, one of these has to be the mine, therefore it has to have a neighbor, which would fill that guy, therefore that's not a mine. Therefore that's also not a mine. There's going to have to be at least 1 in here, so there has to be at least 2 in there by the nature of the game rule. And that's... Is that auto-solve? No, there's still 4 mines to figure out. Well, there can't be a mine there. That's solved. That's solved. That's solved. That's solved. Autocomplete. Only 9 more to go. No, that can't be a 1, nor can that. These are both non-mines. At least 1 there. Oh, that's just solved. Oops. That's solved like that. Can't be a mine. Has to have a neighbor. Has to have a neighbor. What's next? Has to have a neighbor solving that. No need for a neighbor there. What's next for these guys? Okay, well, this 2 can only have 1 more mine in its area, and this 4 needs to have at least 2 more, so that solves all that. There's 1 mine somewhere in there to satisfy both these requirements. What's next? There has to be at least 2 mines in these 3 tiles here. Maybe there's 1 more mine over here, but at least 2, maybe 3. If there is only 2, they could be there, or they could be like there. Yeah, there's nothing really to glean from that, I don't think. Though maybe I'll be proven wrong here in short order. Let's just start putting in possibilities. If that's where the mines are, then that forces that to not be a mine. So then forces boom, 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 which is non-problematic, and we'd hopefully learn from that. What about... I'm not sure what the next thing to do is. I'm going to use a hint. Classic drum snare. What does that mean? Well, okay. Here's what I'm thinking. If we need to have at least like 3 in this section, could we not have this and this and this? Like, is that in some way against the rules? Oh, it would be because we need to give both these guys neighbors, which would make that not true. So if we can't have both this and this, also having like a guy there, for example. I think no matter what, this is not a mine. Oh no, it was a mine. Why? That tracks. Let's get a fresh level. Okay, those are empty. Oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Oops. We weren't so far enough that it would have been improper. I'm okay with just restarting that one. That was all just the autocomplete stuff. That's autocomplete as well. Empty. I'm sure there's something to learn from the top section too. What it is at this moment, I'm not quite sure. Let's see if we can't work it out. Okay. I lied. Maybe let's look at the let's look at the bottom section instead. Oops. Or not. Oh, okay. We can't have a mine here because it would have no neighbors. So that is solved like that. 3 mines. Okay, there's 1 mine somewhere in these 3. Therefore, there's 2 more mines somewhere in here. We can't have a mine there and a mine there because they would have no neighbor. Therefore, there has to be at least 1 mine there. What does that tell us next? At least 1 neighbor here, meaning that there can't be one here because it would have no neighbor. Tremendous. This is a real patchwork, though, because now we're going to have... Looking at this... already impossible. I think no matter what, there's going to be a mine. There's going to be a... yeah, because there's going to be at least 1 up here, which means that there, in effect, has to be this one here no matter what. Because if it's not, then we're stuck there alone with nothing to back it up. Now, what happens next? Well, there's at least 1 mine going to be in these 2 tiles here, which means that there can't be a mine there because it would have no neighbor. Therefore, no mine there, for the same exact reason, would not have a neighbor. And what does that mean for the rest of it? What does it mean for the rest of it? I'm not quite sure. Let's say we do, let's say we put mine there to solve this guy entirely. No mine, no mine, no mine. Mine goes there. Does that, and then there's a mine that goes there, and that's all solved. Is there a reason to believe that that would be the case? I don't really think so. Are there any spots I'm missing that are just like obvious singles? Let's use a hint. I'm not sure I understand what this hint is telling me. There has to be at least 2 somewhere in here. There has to be at least two more somewhere in these three tiles. Are they saying that it has to be these two tiles that are... Let's map it out. We could have this and this. That's not viable because no neighbor. I think I'm seeing it now. We could have this and this, not viable. We could have this, and that's not viable either. It has to be... We can't have this without the other. Therefore, it has to be these two. Right? Oh, no! Oh, I did screw it up. Oh, man, I see. Okay, yeah, because I would just put the two there. I got a little hasty. New level. No. No. It's starting to actually challenge me a little bit with these horizontal rules. Not challenge me, but I'm learning new wrinkles to the whole system, which is always nice. When you're able to learn more about a system, the more you toy with it, play with it, interact with it. Let's see. One in there. So there's two somewhere down here. Not super helpful, at least not immediately. What does this mean? There's one somewhere in there, so there's at least two here. We can't have boom and boom, therefore there has to be one in the middle. Okay. I don't think this helps us here at all, because it could go there or there or there or there or there without issue to my reading. Anything else that we learn off of this 4? That's a very viable solution. As is like this. I don't see any like immediately non-viable tiles to place on there. Oh, well, there has to be a friend here. Not that it helps us at all with the grander picture, but still good to fill in. Ah, there's a hint available. Let's check it out. Any mine. Let's have a horizontally adjacent mine. Okay, so let's actually get this highlighted. If we put this guy here, then that blocks off all this. Okay, yeah, whatever. Which then forces that, which then... Ah, I see the issue. It then means that this has to be a... Oh, wow, okay. So I was wrong. This one can't be a mine. Wow, that's a tribulation to figure out. That's actually a little bit interesting. I'm surprised. Not surprised, but it's that was a lot. Let's see. Can we have a guy here? Excuse me, so sorry. No, we can't have that either, because then that would make... No, that's not the problem. Point is, we can't have this either. Oh, wow. There's actually a lot to, like, unpack here. Okay. That's solved. Solved. Almost solved. These have to be empty because of the 4 here. Well, we can't have mine there and mine there, therefore there has to be a mine there, which means it'll be a neighbor somewhere in here. I don't see a way for. I guess you theoretically could have. And that wouldn't break any rules, I don't think. Oh, but it doesn't matter because that's solved. Therefore, solving that and everything else around it. One of these is a mine. Okay. What is next? Anything obviously solvable? We can only have one more non-mine here. And it can't be... This has to be a mine. Because that can't not be a mine. Same with this. This has to be a mine, because otherwise if this is not, then that all gets filled in, and that's a problem. Therefore, that's a mine. I think any of these could be not a mine, and we wouldn't have a problem. Let's say we solve it like that. Then boom, boom, boom. One of these is a mine. And there's like one more thing to solve. There's got to be like a solo somewhere that I'm not seeing. Oh, what? Oh, man. I was just being stupid from the get-go. Wait, was I? Oh, I didn't even know how that worked out. That's unfortunate. I wish I knew more about that particular puzzle. Well, those are solved. I mean, all of this is solved. Let's go ahead and clear all that. Therefore, that can't be it. Boom. Boom. Oh, wow. Lag spike? Awesome. And autocomplete. That's a little ridiculous. How does that make any sense? That's so funny. Okay. As in the lag spike I just saw. That's so weird. No. No, no. One of these goes into there, meaning that, well, that can't be one. Solved, solved. Okay, so one of these is going to do like that, and then that would force the other one to only be available there or all the way across the top. Either way, we're going to have it solved by the time it gets over to here, so those are all empty. What does that tell us next? That tells us that there's only 3 in these. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles to figure out. 2 up here, 3 in there. That means this has to be a non-mine. Yeah, because there's 2 here with this 2, and there's 3 in here with this 3. That leaves, with the 5, that leaves this one left hanging. Any other obvious pick'ems? Well, if there has to be 2 in here, then there has to be a mine. Huh? I guess there doesn't have to be. I guess you could have, oh, you could have this and, oh, I restarted the whole thing. Oops. You could have had one there and one there. I was wrong. Oops. Skip them. No, that's solved. That's solved. That's solved. Can't have a mine there. Not solved yet, but close to it. There's 2 somewhere in here. Oh, these are also solved. That can't be anything. No, no, no. You see a lot of very similar shapes with this particular style puzzle. It makes sense why it's the first one that they throw at you. Oh, sorry. Let me lock back in. Um. Okay, so there's one here, meaning that if there's one there, these both have to be mines. Therefore, there's only one up here because one's already down here. So this can't be a mine because it would have no neighbor. The same exact logic brings us to believe that this cannot be a mine. Oh, that has to have a neighbor. This one has to have a neighbor as well. What does that tell us? Nothing good. Okay, let's start working it out. Can I start working it out? Let's just say that one. Then that'd be like that. Boom. Then. Well, that doesn't solve the top part, does it? Oh, there's one here and there's one there. Then both of these can't be mines. Ah, that can be a mine. Solving all of that, which solves that, which solves that, which solves that, which, oh, we're on a roll now. Does that solve anything? Well, if there's only one mine in this whole section here, there has to be a mine there, and therefore a mine there. Can't be mines there, solving that, which solves all of this down here. Has to have a neighbor. Can't be that, therefore can't be that, solved. And that's one more down. Let's move on to the next one. No matter what, there's going to be a mine there. Ooh, okay, so there could be a mine like that, which leaves one mine somewhere in here, which would have to be there. But we can also have 1, 2, which would force empty, 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 in mines like that, right? Am I missing anything here? I don't think so. Let's move over to our friend on the left-hand side. It's either going to be fully top-loaded or like 1 and 1, right? But it is possible for us to have like that, so we can't knock out those ones quite yet. How about this? Is there any problem with that being there? I don't think so, because that just forces it to be like that. Well, how about this? Is there any way for that to be there? No, there isn't, because... Oh, that's the problem. Okay. That has to be empty. I think the same is true there. And there. And there. And therefore that's empty, and that's solved. And we're solving all of this tonight. Has to be a friend. Has to have a neighbor there. Can't be that because it would have no neighbor. Has to have a neighbor. Therefore can't be there. If there's only one more in this section, that has to be not a mine, and those both have to be mines. And let's assume that this is a mine, for example, then that leaves only one down here, which is not possible. Therefore, both of those are mines, and that's the mine there with a neighbor. Solved. Not solved quite yet. Oh, that's a friend. That's solved. Ooh, what's next? What's next? What's next? Oh, that was solved. Oops, my bad. That's also solved. Also solved. Also solved. Also solved. Also solved. That has to have a friend. Autocomplete. No, no. Oof. There's one here, therefore that can't be a mine. There's one somewhere in here, therefore that can't be a mine. 4. Okay, there's at most one in here. Therefore there's at most one in here. That's not true. What am I doing? What am I doing? That's solvable. We gotta have 2 mines there at minimum. Oh, the exact same predicament as before. We have to have that be not a mine. And then all of these are non-mines as well. That solves that, which solves that, which gives us clarity on the rest of it. That can't be a mine. Solved. No. What's next? It has to be in there somewhere, so that is not a mine. I'm not sure what's next, which is a phrase I say an awful lot for someone who actively likes this kind of stuff. No, no. You have to be a mine. Solved. You have to have a neighbor, so that's also solved. You have to... You would have to have a neighbor, so that's not possible. Have to have a neighbor there. Is anything else immediately solved? No matter what, we're getting at least... Okay, if we're going to have at least 1 on each side, we have to have 2 down here, because 1 is effectively 2 with the neighbor system. Therefore, we can't have a mine there, because it would have no neighbor. So no mine, mine, neighbor, and solved. Now just a formality of getting through the rest of it. Boom. No neighbor, no neighbor. Oh, that's a 0. Fun. No, no. Ooh, yep, that's still true. I don't think that's true anymore. Solved, 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 solved. Neighbor, neighbor. Neighbor, solved. Neighbor, solved. Oh, well, that's solved as well because there's at most 1 in here. That's not a mine because there was 1 somewhere in here, and there were 3 more to go around, so those had to be filled. That can't be a mine because of the space there. I'm not sure what's next. Okay, let's start mapping. We put a guy there. We had to have a guy there. That just ends all of that. Is that a problem? No, I don't think so. Okay, let's try, put a guy there. Nope. That's also there. Okay, is there anywhere that we can't put a guy? Let's say we put a guy... Put a guy there. We get that. I'm not seeing the problem here. Let's go ahead and use a hint. Oh, yeah, no, that was obvious. Sometimes you just miss the obvious thing. We have to commit to either up here or down there. If there's 2 here, then this has to be a non-mine. What does that tell us? Can't have a mine there. That's what that tells us. Same there. Can't have a mine there. There's one in here. And one down here. Well, okay. There's a mine somewhere in here. Has to have a neighbor. Therefore, this guy has a non-mine right there. Because it's going to extend over there and satisfy this guy's requirement with one of those. Let's say, I think I got this figured out. We put that there. No, sorry. We put this there. Then that. Oh, I had something and I've lost it. Let's say it's that. Right? Then that forces. We can't have this be a non-mine if there's going to end up being a mine there. How do we... Oh, I can erase. Fun. Let's say we do that. Empty, empty. There's got to be some other better way to approach this. It's either all of these and nothing there, or it's like two of those and then like two down here somewhere. Let's see. We already have one in here, so there's only one more. Oh, wait. If we, yeah, okay, got it. We already know there's one there, which means that there's only one more to distribute around here. The mine has to go there and not there because then it wouldn't have a neighbor. Gotcha. What does that tell us now? It means that we are missing. We can't have all three of these be mined because then there's only one more mine to go around, and we can't have only one mine up here. Therefore, both of these are mines, and we begin to piece together the rest. What does the rest look like? Let's open up drawing mode. Put one there, put one there, put one. No, okay. So let's say we put one here, and then put one there. That solves both of them mutually. If we put one here and there and only solve this guy, then we got to have one more over here, but that's not going to work because we don't have enough mines for the rest of it. So we have to put the two mines in the middle. Solved and autocomplete. Halfway through the perfection goal. Therefore that. Anything else obvious? Oh, 7. Well, that can't be a mine there. Therefore, all of those are mines, and that is a lot of progress already. Wow. I can't have all of that. No, I can because that would actually satisfy that pretty well. Okay, let's look at this. I can't have both of those going. Therefore, one of the yeah. Okay, got it. Therefore, has to be a mine there and a neighbor. No matter what, there has to be a mine here as well, which is always a fun thing to know. Am I going to go there? Am I going to go there? I'm not quite sure. Either way, we can't have a mine there because then it wouldn't have a neighbor. So no mine there, please. Do I know that the mine has to be somewhere in here? No, I don't, because there could be a mine there pretty easily. Could there? Let's see, if I put a mine there, okay. Clear, X, 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 X. Forcing that to be a mine, X, mine, X. That all looks about correct to me. Let's see if there's any implications for anything else. Put the double there, therefore that. Which then X, 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 forcing a mine to be there. Oh, and forcing... Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, there's a problem. We can't have that be the case. So therefore that. Oh, okay, let's see. Has to have a neighbor. We'll see if that connects later on. Same there, I guess. Can't have a mine there. Has to have a mine at least there. And then all of these are non-mines because has to have a neighbor. It has to be a mine here, therefore that can't be a mine. I guess that can't be a mine either. Which goes a long way towards solving all of this junk. No mine. Has to have a neighbor. No mine. No mine. No mine. Solved. Can't be there because that would force a neighbor. Therefore, solved with autocomplete. What's next? No mine there, of course. Auto-solve that a little bit. Can't have mines there and there. If there's at least one mine somewhere, and I guess you could have two mines up there and a mine down here somewhere. We're getting close to solving the entire 2H section, which is good. I am digging this variant. I think it's solid. Not all the variants like oh, there has to be a no mine there. Click with me, at least not in the prior game. We'll see if this one has more consistent versions in that regard. When you have so many, there's going to be some that you just don't quite like, or at least you find to be cumbersome. Okay, it has to be a mine here, forcing one more mine to be in this row here. If there's only one, I guess you could have a mine there too. Ugh. Either way, you can't have a mine there and a mine there. So no matter what, there's going to be a mine right there. Let's start mapping some stuff out. Let's say there's a mine there. There's a mine somewhere in here. Only one more mine in this section here. There could also be, of course, boom, 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 boom. Which one it is, we won't know for a hot second. Get out of here. Let's hop over to somewhere else and see if we can't find a different thing to work out. Let's take a look at the hint. I'm honestly struggling a little bit with this one. 2, 1. What are we implying? We do this. Oh, I see. That's pretty clever. Basically, we can't have a mine here, because if we did, that would force this to be here. We know we can't have mines there off of only one more line of the place. Placing a mine there or there, either way, it extends back over because the double up rule, making this guy invalid. That's pretty solid. So what does that mean? That means that we can't have a mine there. No mine there. One of these is fully committed. Or it could be double up like that. Who knows? No, it can't be. One of them has to be... Yeah, we can't do this and this because then they would extend like that and make this invalid. Therefore, it's like that somewhere. which means no mine, no mine, and that solves that pretty quick. Can't be there. Solving all of this. Can't be there. There's only one more mine somewhere in here. I guess you could have mine there and mine there, so we don't know anything about that quite yet. What do we know now? Oh, you have to have a neighbor. Neighbor there. Okay, let's work out this section over here. We put a guy like there, for example. He goes there. That solves this. Puts a guy there. Solves that. Guy there. Forcing the neighbor to be there. And like that. Which then would bring it over this way. Which wouldn't really be a problem, right? I don't see an inherent problem with that. Let's say we do this. Oh no, I don't know why I put two X's there. An X there. Which doesn't tell us anything. Oops. Ha ha ha. I just worked out that, right? Like, hmm. I don't quite know what the next logical thing to do here is. Oh, I hate to double hint though. Let's look at it for a little bit longer and see if I can't work something out. There's only 3 more things I can put in this area here. There's going to be one in here, potentially one there. Oh, well, we can't have... No, what am I doing? What am I doing? Boom, boom. We have to have at least one more guy up here. So let's say that for now. Actually, no. Let's say that for now. Because if that's the case, then we can't have this going on. Which would force this to be the case. I'm going to force this to be the case. No, what am I doing? Wait. If we do this, we can't have this. It forces us to put this there, but that can't work because we already have the one there. Therefore, that has to be empty. You have to have a neighbor there. Just looking at this double up here now. Let's say I do this. Blanked out. No, there's going to be something else to work on with this 2 here. Oh, what am I saying? We can't have a guy there because then it wouldn't be able to double up there. Yeah, obviously the mines have to go there. Which then solves a lot of other things for us, which I think is the key to getting this whole thing unlocked. We could do double up like that, boom and boom. No problem with that, so we can't say anything conclusively yet. Okay, There's one more flag somewhere in here. Therefore, that's a non-mine neighbor. Non-mine. Solved. 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 Neighbor, neighbor. Solved. Where's the rest of... Oh, that can't be a mine. Solved. If I do this, that's like that. If I do this, that's like that. Okay, let's say I put the mine there. X goes there. X goes there. There's two more up there somewhere. Let's say I put the mine here, mine there. That's not possible because then we will only have one more mine to place somewhere, and that's not going to work out. Therefore, mine has to go there. Huge. Two more to go. Looking around, I don't see anything immediately tempting me. Oh, that's there we go. There's the old classic. Nope. Wow, that's a really interesting thing actually. So one of these has to extend and the other one has to extend like that, forcing. So both those have to be mines like that. Okay, so to walk through that, one of these will extend into that, forcing this to be its like a container. Then, oh man, how do I even explain this? Okay, let's say for example it's that, then it's like that, and then you could have this, which blocks off that, forcing both these to be the case, or you could have this blocking off that, forcing both these to be the case. Either way, you end up with two mines there. Honestly, a little surprised I got that far ahead in such quick time. That surprised me. But that's another non-mine there for our troubles. Let's do a little bit of math and see if we can't figure out which one it has to be. Then you're solved. Then you could be there or there without issue. I'm not sure I'll get that one based on that alone. Oh, well, this has to have a neighbor, meaning that there can't be a guy here because then he'll be neighborless. Same goes. I guess you could theoretically have 3 in a row. If I do this, what kind of havoc does this cause up on... Oh, no, we can't do that. There has to be at least one somewhere here, which means that all of these are empty. Emptying out my drawings. What does that mean now? That means there is at most... I mean, this row of 4s seems... Okay, so we can't have, for example, this, right? Like, that's not a possibility, right? Oh, it totally is a possibility. Well, the other way is a possibility, too, having, like, this and this, right? Because then you'd have that blocked off, and then you'd have that. Either way, it's pretty flexible, which means I'm not going to get a lot done there right now. Oh, look at this. We know because of this that this has to be a Well, it has to be a non-mine, but a question mark's not terribly helpful either. If we put one guy there, it has to be both mines. Okay, we can't have one mine there and one mine on this bottom row. We have to have both mines uh, there, because otherwise you end up with only one and it would have no neighbor, which is of course a problem. Oh, so now we know. No, we don't know, because we could have a mine there without issue. Okay, we'll keep plugging away at this. Or could we? Well, we can't have a mine. Oh, we can't have a mine there, right? Because then we'd have that and that and that. Yeah, no, okay. So this has to be a non-mine. There we go. That's our next step. Therefore, neighbor. Um. Because we can't have a mine there and a mine there without issue, right? Yeah, they just put both there. End up like that. How about if we have the other way around, where we put a mine here and there, and we have yeah, I don't see any issues with either of these approaches. Are there any obvious solos I'm missing? Any I have a bad habit of just kind of clicking on the things, hoping something will magically change if I click on them enough, autocomplete, that kind of thing. If we do that, that by nature requires that, which then solves effectively like that. I don't see a problem with that. If we instead do this, then we'd have to solve like that, which I also, again, don't see a problem with. Okay, let's assume that we need to work it out down here then. What's going on here with these threes? If we have, has to have a friend there, then we can't have this be a mine. It would have to be one of these two, right? How about this? Let's say we do this right here. Then that can't be a mine. Ugh, I don't see what the that's awful. Okay. I'm gonna look at this top section again. And hope for the best. Let's see. Huh. As in, this could be either of those two. I don't see one that's a dispositive. Let's use another hint. Any mine must have a horizontally adjacent mine. Okay, if we put a mine there, what's wrong with that? If we put a mine here, that blocks off like that, which forces that, which... Sorry, let me clear this. That, which then means we can either do this or that. If we do this and this, then we know it's going to be this and this and this, and well, it has to go there now. Oh, are they doing something way simpler? Oh, we can't have... That's so simple. I should have seen that. That's so simple. We can't have there and there. Therefore, we have to have at least one here. Does that tell us anything meaningful, though? Well, let's work out the rest of it. If we put this guy here... No. Yes. Yes. No. Which empties out that. And I see no real issue with that. Put this guy here. Empties out that. Forcing this to be there, this to be there, this to be there. Wait, either way, does this spot end up not a mine? It does end up a mine if we do that. And if we go the opposite way, it ends up... It's an exact binary, I think. Or an either or, I guess. Oh, but either way, that means that this one's not a mine. Oh, that is helpful, actually. Okay. What does that actually tell us, though? And this one's tricky. This one's tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay. Let's work out what this guy's up to over here. We put this guy down here. Okay, let's say we have these two filled. Then we can't have anything down here. I see the problem. We can't have both of these filled. We need to have at least one thing down here. In order to have one thing down there, we need to have a mine right there. But if we do this... then neither of those get filled, and that's just a triple, which is probably fine. But let's say that this one does get filled. Then that's that. Boom. Boom. No. Indeterminate. I guess we could have guys there, but who knows. Over here, we need to have at least one more friend for this guy, a neighbor for this flag. Let's say the neighbor's here. We put two more up there, because we could have a guy there or a guy there, but we can't have two down here, and two, we could have two and two, actually. What happens if we do this? Mark both those off. I feel like I just did this, but we'll find out shortly, I guess. Yeah, we just found out we can do the triple up without issue. How about if we do this and mark off that? Does that cause problems? No, because they can just do that. Yeah, if we end up with this, then we have 1, 2, 3 down here. I think we're ending up with, no matter what, we gotta have a mine like here. I'm not sure about that for certain though. Let's say we do this, right? We gotta have a mine here, a mine there, no mine there. We have one somewhere up there. Well, we can't have a mine there, so we need to have a mine here instead. What if we do the double mine here? We end up with boom, 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 as we have before. Am I just constantly finding that I need to do the triple mine? Is that the implication here? Because I'm not tracking if that is what it's implying here. Hmm. I. Oh, another hint. Okay, let's say we do this, right? Marked off, marked off, marked off, marked off, marked off, marked. What does that entail? Is that a problem in some way? There's something wrong with that? How about if both of these are wrong? Or if these are not those guys? I guess it doesn't really tell us much. Man, I'm not sure I was supposed to logic that one. Oh, that was brutal. New level. Hopefully it won't be as catatonically awful as the prior one was. Catatonically? I mean catastrophically, of course. Okay. Looking around. Okay, interesting. So we have a 1. No guarantee that we'll get a... What are we looking at? Well, that can't be a guy. Therefore... Oh, that's so right, actually. Okay. We know that, we know that, we know that, we know that. We could have one of those, or like one of these and that. Either way, this one has to be a mine. With this guy having to be a mine, that guy can't be a mine. This guy can't be a mine either. Hmm. Our options here are to have that, I think. If I do that, is that a problem? I don't think so. Or let's say I do that. Can I actually have guys down here? Yes, I can. I think either way, we end up with. Is there any way for this to not be on top there? No, I think we have to have all these be non-mines. Yeah, okay, interesting. Then that automatically just kind of solves that for us. We get another neighbor there for sure. We know there's at least one here, which means that that's not a mine. Therefore, that's not a mine. And what's next? Can I do this without issue? Let's say I have a mine here, a mine here, and a mine here. That makes all of these moot. Mine there, moot. Is that a problem at all? I don't think so. How about mines along the bottom? 1, 2, 3. X, X, X. Don't read too far into that. You would need to have a neighbor, and that wouldn't work. Therefore, we need to have at least one guy up here. Well, okay. We can't split it because we can't have one and like two. I guess we could have like that, right? Either way, we have to have a mine there. Yeah. Huge. Can we have mines like oh not two of them. Oops. What's the next you gotta have kind of thing for this? Okay, that's okay. How about we do one of these? I think the main thing is you can't have this guy there. Because if you do that, no, you can do that. So then can I have anyone down here? We can't have that is the main thing. What was our problem initially? Wait. I'm simply forgetting now. I've been playing this for so long. Let's see. I think the problem is if we do that, then we have to have a guy there. Like, we have to have that. And then we need to have one guy down here. No, I think this guy has to be a non-mine. Yep, huge. Then with that, one guy has to be somewhere there. If he's here, that forces that, which is not possible. Therefore, that's a non-mine. That has a neighbor now. That's solved. Neighbor. Solved. 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 Ooh, what's next? I can't have a mine there. Give me one more somewhere around here. Excuse me. Oh, we can't have a mine there because of the one. Oh, wow. Okay, that's actually coming along nicely. Wow. There's a mine somewhere in there. Therefore, not a mine there. No mine there. Solved. Solved. Has to have a friend. Solved. Has to have a friend. Solved and solved. And has to have a friend, so therefore solved. And two more mines and 6 more spaces. Okay, if we put this, if we put that there, 2 more. If we put that there, so it has to be. What? What's the hint? Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, fair. Oh, that void's the perfect clear. Oh, no. Dang it. Okay, well, we got this. We're okay. That's frustrating. The last possible second. Oh, man. No. Therefore, all those are empty. Same with all those. Can't have a mine there. It has to have a mine there no matter what. Can't have a mine there. No mine there. That's solved. Needs a friend. Can't have a mine there. Are you solved? No, you can't have a mine there though, so you are solved now effectively. Therefore, double. Double up, you need a friend. What's next? Can't have a mine there nor there. So you have to be there. Need a friend. Can't be there. Need a friend there. And we're just rolling through it. Can't be there. Need a friend. Need a friend there too. You need a friend as well. Just giving all these folks friends. They all need friends. Everyone needs friends. If you don't have a friend, sorry. We can't put it there. It has to go there with a friend. Also need a friend there. 2 more in here, which means that there's 1 more somewhere over here. Let's see, if we do this and this and boom, boom. If we do, what is the next? Oh, well, these can't be mine. This can't be a mine because it would take a second one to connect it, so that's a non-mine. 2. What's the 2 mean here? Can't have that, therefore have to have like that. Therefore has to be a mine there. What does that tell us? Oh no, it actually tells us we can't do that. Therefore that's a non-mine. Non-mine. It has to be like that. Oh, there's 1 more somewhere in there. Which means can't be there. Solving the puzzle. Huge. 1 more clear and we're done with this section. It's satisfying to kind of learn the ropes of a given logic rule. You can start to breeze through things pretty quickly if you know what you're doing. Until you hit the wall, of course. The wall in this case being whatever all this is. Let's see. And there's 1 more somewhere in there. We know there's 1 more somewhere up here. If we, for example, put it there, then there has to be a guy there. Doesn't really tell us much. What do we know? We've already solved a... Oh, this guy over here. You tried to sneak away. I saw you. Can't be there. Has to be there. Need a friend. Oh, wow. So you can't be there either. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's a lot to actually... That's actually a lot to unpack. Let's say all three of these are just bunk. We have this guy over here. What does that tell us? That tells us it goes there. And then somewhere in there. Is there any guy that absolutely has to be a non-mine here? Let's say that this is the mine. That's a friend. Sorry. That's a mine. That's a friend. That's not going to work. That has to be a non-mine because you have two there. There's no more room for another mine down there. And now that's interesting. We have to have at least one here, which means we can't have a mine there, which gets us closer to solving everything. Absolutely everything. Well, we know that's a mine now. Can't be a mine there, so with a neighbor. What is the next revelation? I think it's that we have to have... No! What? Oh, they're right. Because there could have been a mine here because of this triple. Oh, dang. You go on autopilot for 1 second. Well, we know there's a mine there. Using the exact wide I thought we had just worked out over there. One of these. Can't be there, can't be there. One of those is the mine. Devastating. The drama's real. Oh, wait. No, this is a guaranteed triple mine right there because of the one here. Guaranteed triple. Something similar true here. There's only one here, so one of these has to... Oh, so then these are guaranteed non-mines because there's one here. Yeah, one there, because with the two. And that solves all of that with a friend. Can't be there, which solves all of that. Can't put the mine there. You need a friend there. You can't have a mine there. Which solves... Oh, they're going to leave that for the very end. That's annoying. Regardless, can't have a mine there. Can't have a mine there. Can't have one there. So you can put one there and solve that. Okay, let's see if we do that. Does that make things... No, so it has to be a non-mine there. So that we have workable stuff here. No, yes. Oh, I thought that was the auto-solve button. There's auto-solve. Perfect clear. With that, we have perfect cleared everything we need to do for the horizontal levels. Tremendous. That was a marathon. Took longer than I thought it would, to be honest. I thought the rule was relatively straightforward until we got in there, and there was just a lot of weird edge cases and like moments where it's not quite clear what's going on. With that, though, satisfying, perfect clear. Glad to have done it. See y'all next time, where we'll begin the cross rules. Ciao.